Hello everyone and welcome to Hanwell Zoo. To continue this week's theme of animal diet preparation, today we are going to prepare some treats for our lovely meerkats. There's 5 meerkats here at Hanwell Zoo and we're going to be preparing one of their favourite foods. So I have all my ingredients ready here. This involves a little bit of cooking, so I'm just going to put some oil in this one and a little bit of oil there. And we're going to be preparing some turkey eggs for them. So I have our turkey eggs here, fresh this morning. I'm just going to be taking just the tops off. You'll see why in a second. Hopefully you can still see that. I'm just going to take the top off. Hopefully I can do it without breaking too much of it. You'll see why, because I'm going to add the egg inside. I'll explain why in a second. I'll just get the rest of these done. Where can I do this a bit easier? We've had to arrange things in a very certain way so the camera can get everything in, and now I'm working backwards of everything, but it's absolutely fine. But we're going to be preparing these turkey eggs. Now, all of the eggs that we get from our animals, but mainly our turkeys and our chickens, they are not part of the food chain. So because it's a byproduct of our animals, we don't use them for ourselves and we don't sell them, and some people think that's a little bit of a waste, but it's a really important part of zookeeping, because if you started benefiting from the byproducts of animals, that might encourage people to produce more, and that's not what we're about. That's not what conservation is. So we use all of the egg products that we get from the animals, particularly the chickens and the turkeys, to feed some of the other animals. So today the meerkats will be getting some turkey eggs. Now, another reason why we don't eat them, and why, I'm just going to get some tissue. The other reason why we don't eat them and why we don't sell them, as I mentioned, they're not part of the animal food, and part of the human food chain. And because of that, we don't stick to regulations that part of that food group has to stick by, i.e. we don't have to give certain vaccinations to our animals because our eggs aren't going to go into the food supply. And because of that, we don't eat them, and as I said, it's a byproduct, and we use them all for the animals that already live here at Hanwell Zoo, which is very convenient, because that means we don't have to buy any eggs ever. So I'm going to give these a really quick whisk, as much as I can in the time that I have, mainly because our meerkats do enjoy a fluffy egg. Our eggs don't go into the food supply, but the reason why I'm heating the shells up, as I mentioned, because we don't vaccinate against certain diseases that won't affect anything unless it's eaten, we have to cook everything up just to be nice and safe and sure. So I'm going to pop this egg in. There we go. The other thing I'm going to do, which is probably really quite important, is I'm going to turn this on. There we go. I'd like to put it in hot, but never mind. I've turned it on now, but that does give us a time to add the next ingredient. We have some lovely free-range chicken. We always use free-range chicken. It's always, I don't eat chicken, but if you do eat chicken, it's so important to use free-range. Now what I'm going to do, this is not all for the meerkats today. They only get a little bit, and I'm going to put that to one side. And then I just need some small cubes. All will become clear shortly. And then I'm just going to pop this in there. I should have put some oil in first, but I'm just going to go wash my hands, and then I will pop the oil in, and then everything hopefully will start to come together. But as I mentioned, this is our meerkat's absolute favourite little treat, and we do like to treat them. We don't like to spoil them, but treating them is something that I think is so important for for our animals. It keeps things interesting. You'll see when this all comes together in a moment, you'll see just how different it would be rather than just presenting it on a dish for them. So while that sizzles away, I couldn't find my chopsticks, so I've got some paintbrushes instead. I'm just going to make sure this egg is doing. Oh, not very well. Probably because I didn't have it turned on. Let's get that bottom cooked. These paintbrushes are far too short. There we go. We're getting a bit of heat now. And that's coming along nicely. Now, I am going to use the same chopsticks as they were to move around the chicken because everything's getting to a nice heat. I shouldn't be contaminating anything, but I need to make sure these are all nicely cooked through, making sure my eggshells aren't burning. As I mentioned, I'm heating the eggshells through because don't forget, they've still got remnants of egg in there. So if I'm going to give these back to the meerkats, if I'm going to give them to the meerkats, which I'm going to, then I want them cooked through too, just in case there's anything nasty, any microbes or viruses or bacteria lurking in there. I want to make sure they're all cooked off. So I will fry them off nicely. I did sterilise the eggshells, obviously because they came from the turkey space. I did sterilise them before I brought them over here to the kitchen. Let's see. This is, my mum will be ever so upset with me. What a messy scrambled egg. But we're not going to be presenting it on a plate, so I do have a bit of an excuse, and I'm using paintbrushes instead of chopsticks, but never mind. There we go, let's turn some of these over. Where are we? There we go. Can't quite do it with these, they're so short. There we go. That will cook through. Now, I'm going to leave that for a moment. While they cook through, I'm just going to cut, I need a different knife now. I'm just going to cut this Moorish 2. Now the Moorish 2 is not a favourite of the meerkats, but it's always good to have a little bit of green in your diet. It's good for roughage, it's good for vitamins, it's good all around. And I'm just going to sprinkle that on our egg. Give our chicken a bit of a turn. This hot plate has two settings, on and off. So it goes from freezing cold to boiling hot very quickly with no control in between. But that's absolutely fine. For this purpose, it's absolutely fine. I think we've still got a few minutes left there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these dry mealworms. Normally we give our meerkats live mealworms, but because we're going to be cooking them, we don't like to cook the live mealworms. That's not fair. Their fate has already been sealed and it's not up to us to make it any worse. So I'm using these dried mealworms and I'm just going to pop them in my hand and crush them up, because this isn't the main body, this isn't the main item of the dish. It's absolutely just a seasoning. It has, for meerkats, it has a great flavour and they absolutely love those mealworms. Now I am just going to mess this up and make an absolute mess of everything. Whoop, these are not chopsticks, there we go. Now, I think our egg is done. If it were me, I would absolutely have this much runnier, but it's not for me, it's for the meerkats, and we need to make sure everything is cooked through. So I think that's done. Our chicken is done. Turn that over once more. And our eggshells are certainly done. So the first thing I'm going to do is take out our eggshells and not use these silly paintbrushes. I will use my fingers, which is not safe. So don't do this at home. If you are thinking about making a meerkat treat at home. The chicken's done, the egg is done, so I'm going to turn that off so I don't do myself a mischief. And then I'm going to get rid of these not chopsticks and get myself a spoon. And now what we're going to do is we're going to present it in a different way, and that's why I've been cooking those turkey eggs. And the reason we present different foods in different ways is to make it more interesting for the animals. It's something we call enrichment. So it's enriching. It makes them think, it makes them move, it makes them do something very vaguely slightly different to what they would do if you were just to present it in a bowl. And it just makes it that much more interesting for them. So firstly, their favourite part of this meal is the chicken. So I am going to put a little piece of chicken into the bottom of the egg, just as a bit of a treat right at the end. And then I'm simply just going to fill up the egg with egg, as it were, making sure that each egg has a bit of mange tout in it, so no one misses out on the mange tout. There we go, a bit of chicken and a bit of egg. Now, I needed 5 eggshells because we have 5 meerkats and I'd like to give them 1 each. But 5 turkey eggs, the insides of turkey eggs, 5 of them is far too much for our meerkats. So the rest of this egg I'll be feeding to one of the other birds that has egg in their diet. Quite a few of our birds have egg in their diet, and it's a great source of proteins and fats for them. So that's that one nice and full. And I'll do the third one. There we go. Now what I'll do, I'll just finish this one, make sure we've got a bit of mange tout in there. There we go. And I'll pop that one there. I'll finish the other 2 and then I'll show you, I'll feed them out to the meerkats and show you. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have seen anything else like this today. It's very unusual, but it's really important to provide our animals with not only the best quality food and the most nutritious for them, but also something really, really interesting. So whilst a lot of people might think that's a bit much for a meerkat, I don't think so. I think they're really going to enjoy this, and you're going to see now. So here we are in the meerkats, and we have, that's Arthur and Titch, Rex, that's Chiku, and then Stephen over there, diligently waiting for the lovely eggies we provided for them. Now this is going to be carnage. I'll have to try and make sure everyone gets one and films at the same time. But are you guys ready for your lovely little treat? Are you ready? There we go. One at a time. Try to remember your table manners. Shall I get one out for you? Here we go. Sweet. Titch. Titch, I got one. I think we're just going to have at it, and everyone's just going to, it's a bit of a free-for-all. Now, because I know my meerkats, I can guarantee you that those little murmurings are noises of sheer joy. This is Chiku on the top. Chiku's our female. She's the dominant one. We don't tend to allow her, oh clumsy, we don't tend to allow her to hoard the treats. So, but I'm pretty confident that everybody, certainly everybody's chewing now, so everybody's had a nice share of it. Titch is just next to me, eating some egg. And now usually, we do like the enrichment to last a fair while, but unfortunately, any kind of food enrichment with the meerkats, as you see, they go at it full steam. And there we go. I think that was a resounding success. Lovely.